Hey guys, I hope you guys are all doing well. So I wanted to do a video and kind of share an update of what's going on and kind of some guidance and help with it. I keep like recording stuff and then not being able to post it. And then it's like right after I'm done recording it, I know you guys get the energy anyway, but right after I'm done recording it, like opens like another Pandora's box of something. So I'm going to kind of just do a recap from the last few days of different shit that should be coming up for you already and helping you kind of understand it and the purpose, or might be coming up for you after you watch the video within the next few days. Excuse me. So, let me say within the last week, because I can't remember the exact time. Within the last week, if you have sexual trauma, a lot of it should be coming up. And it's coming up in different ways than you realize. Or different ways than it did in the past. Like in the past, a lot of times you actually process the specific thing that happened to you, some of your emotions with it, all of that kind of stuff. As those things are kind of coming up, you should be now getting more information and clarity, things that you're holding onto, false beliefs about it or false truths about it, and also how it affected you more so in the present day in the last few years. In addition to that, helping you to actually resolve certain feelings and belief systems with it. And then I'm just going to be a little bit vulnerable and just talk about something with myself and something I realized, and it relates to you guys too. So I was raped when I was 15, and that's actually how I lost my virginity. And I remember before that had happened, not wanting to have sex and kind of like friends and people pressuring you and being like, oh my God, you're still a virgin, and just kind of saying shit. And of course, back then we care about what people think of us. Like, you're a teenager. We care about validation from people. A lot of us are insecure as shit, especially, when we had the childhoods we had, we didn't really have parents to help us, feel secure and feel validated and accept who we were. But also, I think at that age, like, your peer relationships are really important. And I think a lot of us valued them at that time. So I remember always feeling kind of like in conflict, but I never wanted to do it. I think I just like lied, or I wanted to lie about it or something. But when I was raped, I cried, and I cried for a few hours, but I think after that, I didn't really want to tell people what happened. I didn't have anybody safe to really process it with. I didn't really know how to explain kind of what had happened to me. I wasn't even sure people would believe me. I had a lot of trauma with people not believing stuff that I said. Or, when I did say stuff that did happen to me, nothing being done about it, nothing getting resolved, and it getting worse from me talking out about it. So I think like I just didn't feel safe to actually have a conversation. And I think because I grew up in such an abusive household where it was like, if DCF got called or something happened, it was me getting threatened as like a child. Like my stepmom, not my dad, but like my stepmom being like, I'm going to literally cut your body up and like throw you in the woods, like shit like that. So as a little kid, you don't realize that like the likelihood of her doing that is unlikely, but it's not even the point because she's beating the shit out of you all the time and like harming you. And so you don't realize, you know what I'm saying? It scares you into submission. And like that kind of what happens in this house stays in this house. So I think I didn't realize how bad it affected me up until probably a few years. I realized obviously emotionally it harmed me. I realized, it made me feel unsafe, but I think because I'd repressed and not really actually understood and validated my experience at the time, I think I didn't really actually see how it affected me at a deeper level, where I became like hypersexual, where I would have sex with people that were unsafe, where I would drink to even be able to have sex in the first place, and not realizing like a lot of different stuff. And a lot of that related to trauma that I'd experienced when I was a kid that I did not even remember. And that had come up about a year and a half ago. It was actually probably the hardest thing for me to process, like this childhood shit that came up. Because I didn't even remember it. And I'm just going to say sexual exploitation with my stepmom, and I'm going to leave it at that. But when it had come up, it came up really fucking heavy. And I felt all this energy, and I felt all my fear, and I felt where I tried to protect myself and I wasn't able to. And that at some point I just gave in because I couldn't not. And I knew it was like worse if I didn't, like after I kept on fighting, it was worse. And so when that came up a year and a half ago, it triggered another layer of my trauma where I realized that I was actually intentionally targeted, because I was raped more than once by more than one person, but I realized I was intentionally targeted by certain people with that, and also relationship stuff, because they could feel that I would not fight back. They knew that I was an easy target. I hate saying it like that because it's fucked up, but I started feeling all that. Then I started feeling all this energy of guys that actually felt that I was doing stuff for the wrong reason. And even though I wasn't consciously aware of it, they still had sex with me anyway, knowing that, instead of actually being a safe person and being like, let me actually take care of her needs and not actually like contribute to her trauma. They were just selfish and didn't give a fuck. So I felt all of this at one point. So it was a lot. It was really fucking hard for me to deal with. I was also not in a good place with all of my friends, because I had realized right before that I wasn't asking for too much with my needs. Like, for people to just listen to me and be present with me wasn't too much. For people to actually contribute to relationships and me not have to do everything, or people making excuses like, oh, I have so much shit going on, and them not stepping up for me, and all that. And it was like right before that I had realized that. And so I kind of already just set boundaries with my really good friends at the time, the people that I would actually reach out to talk to about stuff, that I felt like comfortable talking to about stuff and being vulnerable like that. And they weren't there for me. And so then it was like even harder, because that's exactly how I felt as a kid, very alone. And my dad didn't do shit. My sister has actually contributed to shit. So it was like I was in this house just constantly going through shit. And on top of that, like, I also had like my dad kind of putting all this emotional responsibility on me, and like having me go work with him and do all this shit. So it was like I never really got to be a kid. I never really got like a childhood. And in those moments I would try to find that, and I would try to kind of like do stuff for myself. So it was just really hard for me to kind of deal with that part. But then what happened was I was like, oh, we were teenagers, like maybe, whatever. So the other day when I was processing shit, I was feeling the energy, and it was like, no, he knew that I was like kind of an easy target, and he knew that this was somebody he dated in middle school and like in a little bit into high school. It was somebody like I had a huge crush on. He knew that it wasn't the first time he did something to me. I just didn't even process that one until more recently too. And I was like, damn, I like literally, not that I forgot it, it just has not been in my mind for a long ass time. Because you're talking about, I'm 39. This happened when I was 15. So you know what I'm saying? 24 years ago. And so then I started actually feeling his energy. And the other person who raped me a few months ago, oh my God, I said that wrong. A few months later, after that had happened, they were friends, and I was feeling the energy of it the other day. And I was like, oh no, he intentionally targeted me and did that, and knew exactly what the fuck he was doing to rape me, to have power over me. And I did not realize I was actually feeling that energy every time I was having sex. Not every time, but a lot of times I was feeling like a lot of that. And then I also felt the intuition that he had told his friend about it, and that's why his friend raped me. And I was just like, yeah, that was really uncomfortable, I think, to feel. But then I was feeling that I was not the only person they raped when we were in high school. And I was just like, wow, they're actually pieces of shit. And I was raped a third time when I was 21. And it was actually by somebody I was best friends with. She drugged me and her boyfriend raped me. I only have some recollection of it because I threw up some of whatever. I had one drink and they spiked my drink and I threw up some of it. So I actually have like little just flashes of fucking memory and stuff. So I had like a lot of stuff with that. So processing all of that and then processing all of like the energy and all the stuff in between was like crazy. But what had happened was after that, that was like a few days ago. After that, this was on, what is today? Today's Monday. On Saturday, I was kind of feeling some of the stuff related to that, and I was processing my feelings, and I started kind of hearing my thoughts about stuff with sex, and I was like, wait a minute, this does not sound like me. And I was like, okay, because sometimes people will be in my energy, I just can't always tell that it's them. But if I hear a thought that I know is not mine, I can tell. And I'm like, wait, this is not my energy. And then I was like, wait, is this trauma energy or somebody else's energy? And I was processing some shit. And I was like, wait, how do I actually feel about this? Like, let me actually think about how I feel about this. And so I started thinking about how I used to feel. Like, it almost like unlocked something for me. I started realizing how I used to feel before I was raped, and I wanted to wait until I was an adult to have sex. I wanted to have like that romantic relationship with that like best friend that you spend your life with, like that person that you feel close with and comfortable with. Like, I didn't even want that. I wanted to go on dates and get to know each other and like wait. Like, I didn't even want that. And I realized like I want that now as an adult. Like, I think I've always wanted it. I just forgot. And when I realized I forgot what I actually wanted, I started crying. And then I started realizing like all this shit with what I've wanted for like a romantic relationship. Some of it still is actually what I want, but also realizing that a lot of what I want is based on all of the shit that I've been through with fucked up people and wanting the opposite of that, or all of my unmet needs from the past and wanting that. But none of it was really like actually like heart centered. Like, what does my heart want? Naturally, like, you want your needs to get met to help you heal. Naturally, you want to avoid, repeated trauma, like, of course, but also like not even realizing, like, I literally forgot what I wanted. So I was kind of processing that. And I was just like, damn, like, okay, I forgot, like, that was taken from me. And you start seeing like the shit that gets taken from you. You start seeing how it affects you in a totally different level, and like how you lose a piece of yourself. Obviously, you can always take it back. It's not anybody else's. Even if temporarily they have something of yours, it's not theirs. They can't keep it. You know what I mean? You can always take it back. So I was processing all that stuff. And I was feeling the energy with you guys and how a lot of you guys don't actually want, I said that wrong. A lot of you guys don't actually do heart-centered shit. A lot of you guys don't actually look at what your passions and dreams were before people broke them down. And it doesn't have to be through like, sexual shit. It can also be through like your parents and your childhood and your teenage years, even young adult life, where you have dreams or passions or things that you want, and people shitting on them, people like knocking you down, people sitting there and saying shit, and then you kind of like lose sight of it. And you kind of lose sight of a lot of stuff. And I think this is really like a period of time for you guys to rediscover what it is you want and go after your dreams and not settle. And that was really one of the big things in that situation, is not settling, like really actually choosing what you want, having that conscious awareness and choosing that. So, okay, fast forward. I go home that night, June 14th, which was Saturday. I go home that night. And the reason I say that is because I get home late. Like, I had scheduled a pedicure. She was running like a half hour late, all this shit. I get home, I'm like starving because I only had like a snack earlier and I was, at work and stuff. So I like just start cooking food right when I get home. My food's done. I was trying to also get it cooked because it was fucking storming out. My food gets done. I go in my room to go put on like comfy clothes, and my whole ceiling is fucking leaking. Like, it was crazy. I was like, there's a whole fucking puddle. I was like, there's no way. There's no way. Well, my AC guy had come out Wednesday and Thursday. Now it's Saturday. So I had to call him for a fucking third time to come get this. It's Monday right now. It's not even resolved. I'm really just like, it's not leaking anymore, but I'm monitoring it to make sure it doesn't. There's like 3 options that I can do, and I like none of them. So I'm trying to just kind of monitor it right now. I feel like when I say monitor, I keep saying it fucking weird. And kind of see what I want to do, and kind of just sitting in that space and waiting. When that happened, because it wasn't just that, there's a bunch of other shit that happened the same day and like consecutively before that and after that. I kept on feeling slammed with all this overwhelm energy. And I realized it took me until Sunday to realize that I was feeling everybody's energy when something happens to them. And I'm going to explain that, but I want to go back and tell you why I told you June 14th. I laughed because I was like, June 14th, 2024, my house got struck by lightning. June 14th, 2025, my fucking shit starts leaking. And I'm like, what are the fucking chances? I have seen patterns like that happen where like certain dates, the same type of shit happens years later, or some type of shit happens year later. This is a big cycle. This is a big spiritual cycle, big spiritual teaching cycle, and all this shit that I'm in right now, which is why some shit happens like that to me, but it's whatever, right? I'm like a little bit more in my energy since last night. Thank God. Oh my God. I have not been able to be in my energy for like over a year. It's been hell, but I feel like just better when I'm in my energy. So anyway, back to the overwhelmed feeling. So I started feeling all the overwhelmed feeling. I'm in this like rigid energy, like in hypervigilance. I can't fucking relax or calm down. I'm just like in like just all this shit, right? So I'm feeling overwhelmed, feeling all this stuff. Sunday I was able to process it. The next day I was able to process it. And I'm like, wait, that doesn't even feel like it was my energy. So I started processing it and I was like, okay, what is this? And I'm like, this is what happens. People feel overwhelmed and uncomfortable. They feel every time something happens, they feel certain things. I started hearing thoughts of like, why does this keep happening to me? What did I do wrong? Why am I being punished? I'm a good person. I don't understand why bad shit keeps happening to me. All this kind of stuff that you guys think. So you guys have all these subconscious beliefs where you think that every time something like that happens, that it's your fault. You did something wrong. You're being punished. You're being attacked, personally attacked, like all these different things. But then also what happens is because you have those belief systems, you might not even realize it. It's going on below the surface a lot of times. But because you have that, then your response is different. So a lot of times what your response will be when you activate that, a lot of times your response will be impulsive as shit, or it will be reactive as shit, or it will be chaotic. Like it will not be stable. So I'm going to explain a few things from this situation. When stuff like that happens, like if there's something you need to do, immediately do it. So like when I saw that, the first thing I did, I ran and turned the fucking AC off because I was like, did it start raining outside? I think it's raining. I was like, let me turn the AC off because I was like, obviously it's leaking and I don't want anything worse to happen or like more water to fucking pile up. So like, let's get that shut off so nothing worse happens. And then I took a video and a picture and I messaged it to my AC guy. So this way, like whatever. And then I called him. He didn't answer. I left a voicemail. It was like 8 at night. And I was like, okay, he's like 24 hours. So it's fine. But, whatever. And then I was like, oh my fucking God. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I hope my fucking ceiling doesn't collapse in here. And I was just like, oh my God. Cause it was like a giant fucking line and then like 2 spots. And I was just like, holy shit. Luckily he called back like after that came out and like all that shit. That's what I'm saying. It's still not resolved, but whatever. Okay. When shit like that happens, if there's something emergent to do, deal with the emergency thing. Like how I turned the AC off. Breathe and bring yourself back to center. If you have a hard time making decisions, which I'm also going to explain what I was feeling with y'all's energy. If you have a hard time making decisions in those moments and it's not a super emergency, like, you know, that type of situation, like do what you need to do immediately. Take a second to breathe and bring your body back to safety and center. Like that is the most important thing for you to do. When you are in a state of hyperarousal and fear and freeze and flight and or whatever one you go into or multiple, when you're in that state, you cannot make rational decisions. You won't. A lot of times what is actually happening is it's helping you heal something and it's usually serving you in some capacity, even though it doesn't look like that. And I think a lot of people don't stop to actually look at how stuff sometimes seems bad, but it's actually helping you. A lot of the bad, not everything bad, but a lot of the bad actually is helping you in some capacity, right? Okay, or there's an opportunity to learn from it. So a lot of times what I was feeling happens with you guys is when something like that happens and it kind of happens suddenly or out of nowhere, especially when you're in a state of calm or you were in a state of peacefulness right before that, you go into this conflict energy and you go into fear a lot of times and you just, whatever, which is normal. There's nothing wrong with that. What is going on is your trauma just got activated. So in the present moment, you have an opportunity to calm down and ground yourself and create stability in that moment and make a healthy, logical, rational decision so you can resolve it instead of doing an impulsive, chaotic choice that probably you're still going to have to fucking fix later because it's not really a stable decision. When you're making chaotic, unstable choices and impulsive choices, shit doesn't usually get resolved. This is where you go into the cycle of how I'm a fuck up, how I can't do anything right, nothing fucking is this, and all that kind of mindset. which is just usually a childhood trauma and what people said to you or what you said to yourself based on what people said to you. When you're making stable, healthy fucking choices, you're showing yourself that you're safe. You're showing yourself like you're building your confidence, you're building your internal stability. And when you're doing that, the little kid in you is actually healing and transmuting the past. So a lot of times where that criticism starts or where that conflict starts or where that fear starts, different things. So I'm going to just give you a few examples. Sometimes it's when you have intuition and you have, usually I'm going to say parent, but obviously it could be a sibling, another adult, somebody that kind of you look up to or is guiding you or giving you rules or some shit like that. You have your intuition and you have the other person and the information is in conflict. And because you're a kid, you usually give in to the other person to protect yourself, to keep yourself safe, or you don't trust yourself. Normal as fuck. But what happens is your energy, when you don't listen to your intuition, goes into anxiety. And I try to explain to people what true anxiety is. I don't mean nervousness. I mean actual anxiety is a conflict and disconnect between what your intuition or energy knows and what your mind is saying or what you were doing, which is the opposite of what your intuition and energy say. It's like in direct conflict. So think about like if you're putting like two frequencies together that are not on the same level and it's causing all this chaos, that's literally what's going on. They're in conflict with each other and like magnets repelling instead of magnets coming together and being cohesive. So that's really what's going on. So separate than that intuition part, sometimes when you made choices as a kid, you were held responsible for shit that was definitely way beyond what your maturity was, or you didn't understand something and you didn't have a patient, safe person to guide you to help you understand something and they just told you to fucking do it or figure it the fuck out, which then gave you anxiety because then you're like, well, what if I do it wrong? What if this? What if this? What if this? And then also think about the consequences. If you do it wrong, I'm going to get yelled at. I'm going to get punished. I'm going to get in trouble. They're going to say this to me, right? So then that throws you into chaos where now you feel anxious every single time you have to make a decision. So like that type of stuff from back then is what's being brought up right now. That's why I'm saying you can actually transmute it when you make different choices if you bring it to your awareness and understand what the fuck is going on, which is why bringing your body back to safety in the present moment will help you with that. If you had a parent, say you had like a child thing to do, so like homework or some shit, and you had a parent who was overly critical of you or was like, why are you writing like this? Why are you doing this? Why did you say this? And they're that way, but they're critical and also not helpful because it's not really helpful to talk to a kid like that. And they're like that. Then what happens is you get into self-criticism. So then you go into this fear where it's almost like you go into avoidance to not do shit because you feel like you're going to fuck it up either way, but then it actually just creates a bigger fucking problem. So a lot of times people will do that. There's other reasons for it, obviously, but that's kind of like that. So that kind of hopefully will help you with like that overwhelmed feeling you keep feeling, that anxiety, why you keep avoiding stuff, why you keep not stepping the fuck up, all that kind of shit. Okay. Then I processed that. Then it brought me to another level with you guys, which is how I was like, I don't fucking trust anybody beside me. I trust no people. No, there's nobody I trust fully. There's a few reasons for this. One, you guys don't even trust yourselves. So how the hell do you expect people to trust you if you don't even trust yourself? That's first off. Why don't you trust yourself? Because you make untrustworthy choices. You make chaotic, unstable, unhealthy fucking choices. You don't make safe decisions, all of that. Two, most of the time, what do people do when there's something kind of going on and they have the opportunity to ground themselves and choose who they actually are? Because we all have our core energy, right? We all have kind of who we actually are without all the conditioning, trauma, and bullshit. All of us have kind of our core. So for the most part, okay, you could choose to step into who you are, but most people don't. Most people, especially when you're unhealed, right, with certain things, or you're lacking awareness to stuff and you're not like self-reflecting, they choose to either become who they were as a kid, which is not helpful as an adult because they projected at you, or they become the abuser or neglect person that did it to them. Almost always. Why am I going to trust you if that's what you're doing to me? No shit, I'm not going to fucking trust you. Okay, this is not like a shame thing. I'm trying to explain something, which brought me to another fucking level, which is how many people half-ass it and justify the half-assing. They're like, no, I'm a nice person. No, I'm a kind person. No, I love this person. No, I show up for this person because I do this, 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 and this, and this. But in reality, when somebody needs your support, when you see somebody struggling, when you see somebody going through something, when somebody's asking for help, are you actually stepping the fuck up for them? Are you actually fully in the present moment, recognizing what the hell is going on and actually meeting their needs? Or are you doing some half-ass shit where this is what you were taught, or this is something that's comfortable for you, or this is something that you don't have to inconvenience yourself and go out of your way for? Because how many times do people sit there and they're like, oh, well, I'm tired, so I don't want to do this for them. Or, oh, well, then I have to go out of my way and I don't really want to do that. Or I have so much shit going on, I can't help them with this, right? How many times do people do shit like that to themselves? Then you're not really actually showing the fuck up for people, because showing the fuck up for somebody sometimes means pushing your ass to go, you know what, this person has something and this needs to take a priority right now, and let me actually fully be there for them. Hey, this person's really, and I don't mean people who are victims that you want you to rescue them. I mean like normal shit. This person's like really stressed out. They have this so much shit going on. Let me go over there, not invading people's space and shit either. Let me go over there, as long as it's, permission and consensual, and actually take some of this shit off their plate and help them with the responsibilities of this, or ask them what they need. Not like, oh, hey, if you need to talk, like, call me. Oh, hey, if you need something, let me know. Like, actually showing the fuck up for people. If you see something going on and you know that they have like 500 fucking tasks to do and they're stressed the fuck out, go do some of the tasks for them. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Like, why do people not step the fuck up? So I was like irritated, because then I was also seeing, now that I was back in my energy, I was seeing shit clearly outside of the spiritual energy and other people's shit. Let me actually sidestep to that too. So it was bothering me. So the last, like, we'll say year and a half, when I go into spiritual teacher energy, what I'm talking about, they have, no. Let me say that different. I go into different energies. We'll say like angel energy, different ascended master energy, different like source energy, shit like that, right? Spirit guide energy, stuff like that. And I will be guiding people. I also, in the same time, the same days, they just shift me. Once I'm done with one thing, I go into a different thing and another thing and another. I deal with this literally all day. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm literally dreaming and analyzing, giving people messages and talking to them. Like, I almost never actually get a fucking break. Okay. I'm not even being a victim. I'm just like literally explaining it is what it is at this point. I'm fucking exhausted though. I'm like, I need a damn break. It's been years and I'm like, I need actually a full ass fucking break. This has been a hell of a cycle right now. So they will have me shift into different, like, I'll say energy templates. So like your energy, right? They'll have me shift into your energy. When that happens, I have no access to me at all. I have no access to my thoughts, my feelings, information I know, my memories, nothing. I will literally feel everything you feel as if I am you. And I will experience whatever the fuck I experience as you, which is what happened when the lightning happened too. But what happened when the roof stuff happened, what happened with a bunch of other shit, right? In these moments, once I came out of this yesterday, in these moments, I realized you guys are so capable of shit, and I don't know why the fuck you guys make excuses. Like, it is genuinely crazy, because I literally go through the same shit as you guys, as you, and all the different ways that people go through stuff. So I was like, okay, no, this is definitely just like some shit. Okay. No shame there. I'm going to explain something to you. A few years ago, because I realize I fully step up for people. I'm like a trustworthy person. I fully step up for people. I handle shit the right way, like all this stuff, right? I used to be so scared to say that, because I used to have people be like, you're a narcissist, you're manipulative, you're this. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm so fucking done lowering myself and acting like I'm a problem with shit, because people don't want to step the fuck up. And they'd rather bring me down and make me feel insecure about false shit than actually just fix their own shit, right? I was like, I'm done with this. Okay. Now that that's to the side. So a few years ago, I had said something to Spirit, and I was just like, Are like people just like can they just not do this because they don't have access to spiritual energy? Is it like my specific energy? Is it because of my soul path and I'm here to teach people? Like, is that the reason why people can't do shit? Oh, hell no, I got the answer to that yesterday. Once I got out of this, I'm still in the cycle, but not as much. I can actually access my own thoughts right now. Thank God. Oh my God. Can actually like do some of the shit that I like doing. Not fully, but some of it now, which is nice. I'm like kind of in like the last 6 years, all the different spiritual energies I go through and all the stuff I've been doing, like simultaneously throughout the day keeps shifting. So I can't stay in this energy. I'm in it right now because I'm doing the video. Probably once I'm done, I'll shift back to a different one, but doesn't even matter. I got the answer on that yesterday when I shifted back to myself for the first time, which was, or one of the first times, which was, you guys are actually fully capable of it. I've literally went through all y'all's energies and all the way you guys process, the way you think, all the different ways. Yes, all of them. Whoever asked that, yes, all of them. And I was able to figure it out. And I will tell you also, while I was in your guys' energies, I also kept on having shit like happen over and over and over. All kinds of different stuff, all kinds of downloads of shit, everything. And I've also went through every single type of loss you can go through. I have literally like had all of my coping skills taken from me, myself, my own emotions, my own feelings, my own memory, like everything. And I'm like, you guys are actually fully capable. That's a lie that you've been conditioned to think, whether it's your trauma or society, where society kind of enables people and they're like, no, this, or you can't do this. No, inaccurate, 100% inaccurate. You can argue with me and that's fine. Like, cool, I enjoy a good debate, but you're definitely not going to be right about that one. So with all that in mind, what I realized today was I got frustrated about something in my personal life and I was like, oh my fucking God, here we go again. Now I have to explain something. And I was like, I'm exhausted trying to explain to people how to treat me. This is not for everybody. This is just for me. Okay. So please hear me on this one. I was like, oh my God, now I have to have another fucking conversation and explain another thing I fucking realized is a problem. And I got a nice little clarity on that, which is you're supposed to be teaching people the right way to do stuff. I was like, okay, all right. So I accepted that role, which means you guys are about to be opening up to something for your own roles. So congratulations. If you are, means you're working through and you're about done with the cycle you've been in, which is going to be really fucking nice. But I was like, okay, let me actually look at this a little bit different. So my mind went to people who are unsafe and people who don't fully show up for you, which is pretty much everybody, where they're thinking about themselves and not really thinking about you. Where'd you learn that from? Who taught you that? Who taught you that? Because a lot of you, it's your parents, right? And then it goes and it's like, it's reinforced because then we find friendships and romantic partners who are just like our fucking childhood that reinforce this message that we're asking too much, our needs are not too much, kind of gaslighting us into accepting half-ass and bullshit. And then you guys end up acting out on it also, because what I think happens is then you feel like you're giving so much to people, and since people aren't giving back or stuff like that, then you kind of revert and you become the people who did shit to you instead of staying as yourself and just setting better boundaries. And I actually went through this conflict a few years ago, which I'm a big lover. I like to just do shit for people. And so for me, it was almost like I felt like resentful where I'm like showing up for all these people fully and I'm only getting half-assed back. And I was like, now I don't know what to do because I don't want to be less of myself. I definitely don't want to become you, but I don't want to do stuff for people who don't appreciate me. So now I got to figure out what to do, right? So I did not lose myself in that. I still stayed myself. And I shifted what I needed to do, but still stayed myself. We're not doing that. Like, I'm not changing who the fuck I am and the love that I have to give to people because you're in trauma and you're doing some shit. I'm going to figure out a way to still be me, take care of my needs, and still show up for you and like resolve some shit. So I get it. I do understand why people do that or why people are scared to do that or all the bullshit. I understand that. I understand the fear of being vulnerable, being a nice person, worrying people are going to take you for granted, showing people your tenderness and your kindness. That I used to worry about too. That I used to hide a lot. That part I would hide. I never stopped being that way, but I would hide it where it'd be like a little bit more like, I don't want to say aggressive, more like assertive, so people wouldn't fuck with me, but I was just like a gentle, tender person. I still am. It doesn't always seem that way, but I actually always am. That's why when people are like scared of me, it confuses the shit. I get it because of my energy, but it confuses the shit out of me because I'm like, internally, I'm like literally like a teddy bear. I'm like, even if I don't like you, I still stand up for what's right. I don't care if I like you or not. I still stand up for what's right no matter what. And also, I'm not going to be mean to you just because you're a dickhead. Like, I'm not going to lower myself or change who the fuck I am because you choose to be a fucking asshole. Like, I'm going to still stand in my power. Sometimes that means being blunt with people and being honest and calling people out on their shit, which I know people get uncomfortable with, but how can we resolve some shit and actually respect ourselves if we're hiding our fucking feelings? So, no. But back to the other shit, right? I get why people stop fully showing up. I get why people hide all this stuff. But really what I was feeling was you guys acting out what you experienced. So a lot of times, and I'm going to give the example for childhood, but obviously this can apply at any point with any person. A lot of times we had parents who were neglectful. They would meet some of our needs in one way, but not in another way. And it was always the needs that we really had, our primary needs that were not met in one specific ways, the ones that they wouldn't do, right? They give us some like surface level shit or shit that was easy for them to do. And we knew it, but if we communicated it or we said something about it, we got gaslit into, well, I'm trying my hardest. I did the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. I'm showing up for you like this. What happens is you go into conflict because you don't want to stop getting some of your needs met. And you also don't want to be ungrateful for what you're actually getting. But you know you're not fully getting your needs met and you know you're actually not feeling safe and comfortable with this person because you're literally ignoring your feelings. We maybe don't process it the way I'm explaining it, but that's really what generally, like generalizing it is really going on. As adults, we know this too. We don't always process it that way, but we know this too. So what happens is we start accepting that and we start gaslighting ourselves and lowering our fucking needs to accommodate other people so we don't get completely ignored, so we don't feel completely alone and all this bullshit. Instead of actually standing in our power and being honest with ourselves and going, no, this person's like full of shit. This person actually can do more. They're sitting here and they're expecting me to like take breadcrumbs and they're lowering their fucking, like they're lowering my needs and having me neglect myself, and they're also neglecting me, right? When you guys are doing that to other people, it's because you accepted that behavior and justified it to yourself. So then when you're doing it to other people, you're justifying what you're doing to other people. So let me give an example because I heard somebody ask that. Okay. Okay, say when you were a kid, your parents would like buy you nice gifts. Your parents would go to your sporting events or some shit like that, right? But you really needed your parents to talk to you. Maybe you were emotional and you just needed some feedback. You wanted to cry. You wanted to have your feelings. And your parents either ignored you and wouldn't listen to you, or they were like, you're a crybaby, you're this, why are you fucking crying? Like all that bullshit, right? So you neglected your emotions. A lot of times when you're older, you'll bring it up to your parents and they're like, I tried my fucking hardest. I worked so hard, blah, 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 all this bullshit, right? So at some level, you know that what they're saying is bullshit, but you're like, no, I do remember them working hard. I do remember them going through this. I do remember them going through this, right? And you'll justify it to yourself and you'd be like, no, you know what? They do love me. They do care. Maybe they do. And maybe they still didn't show up for you fully, and they definitely could have. So like, let's stop enabling people. They definitely could have. I don't give a fuck. And I'm going to explain my own example of this, and I'm going to tell you how I know they're fucking wrong. All of that. So what happens is then you end up having relationships where you keep having these same fucking feelings because you just lied to yourself. Now you're anxiety. So then the same thing just keeps repeating until you actually are honest with yourself, till you accept your unmet needs and your unmet feelings. And you also take responsibility and look at how you actually do the same shit to other people a lot of times, and yourself usually. So what will happen is when somebody is, say I'm coming to you to talk to you and I'm saying, hey, like, can you listen to my emotions? I'm needing some emotional support. I'm so busy. I'm this. Sorry, I got spaced out. You'll distract yourself. You won't answer their message or phone calls. You won't listen. You'll do something and you'll justify it. You'll make an excuse. Sorry, I just am so busy. I have so much shit going on. I'm sorry, this happened with this. And you'll do the same shit that was done to you to somebody else that you supposedly care about. You could push past it, but you choose not to. So the shit with our parents and people who they're like, just making excuses. Let's be real. People make excuses. We can always prioritize the things that matter to us the most. And I'm done with hearing people say no. When I was in, how much of this do I want to say? I used to be married. I was 22 when I started dating him, and he has biological children that were like 1 and 2. When him and I moved out together, him and the bio mom were not raising the kids properly. I say I got thrown into something because I did, but I also chose to go into it, which is when I saw the way stuff was, I was like, I need to like help these kids. Like, I can't just sit by and like let this happen. And then I fell in love with them. So it really just like, they're still my babies. Okay, so at the time, I was literally 22. At the time, I had no parenting skills. I was going to college online. I had my online business. I was really fucking busy. I got with him actually shortly after I was raped, where I was drugged. So I was already like an emotional kind of wreck still. I was already very whatever. I made time for those kids even when they were fucking small. I would literally like watch them. I would play with them. I'd like do like movies with them. We would paint, we'd do all kinds of stuff. And I would purposely carve out time like during my day to make sure I was being really intentional. And when I had shit to get done, I was like, hey, I know you guys want some attention. I can't really do this right now. I was like, how about we all sit together and watch a movie? And then after the movie time, we can do this and I can hang out with you. And I would make it a point to be present, and I make it a point to do that. And even as like, then we ended up moving into a different place. I ended up working for DCF. And I mean, like there were weeks where I worked 60 hours. There were times where I worked like 30 something hours straight without coming home. It was a lot. I was also in a really abusive relationship. I was literally the only one kind of taking care of them. I was the only one paying bills. I was the only one cooking, cleaning, doing everything. Every Sunday, I made it a point to meal prep for the kids for the week. So this way they had like home cooked meals. I did that most of the time. Every day we had like a routine. Put your like planner here, put your homework here. I'm going to sign it, check it, all this stuff. When they had like projects and shit at school, I would carve shit out of my fucking schedule, and I'm like, no, I'm going to go be there for them for an hour. Like, and I would go do, like, it was usually an hour. That's why I said an hour. And I would go do that almost every night. There were nights where obviously like I was on call, so I had to be out and stuff like that. I always try to be home and tuck them in and like leave afterward. It wasn't always possible, but most of the time, the majority of the time I was there, tuck them in every night. All this. When I was home, like I said, which was almost every night, have dinner with them. Even if I wasn't eating, I'd sit in there and have dinner with them. I'd talk to them about their day. I'd always ask them, what's 3 good things that happened to you today? And I would either play games with them at night, or if I was really fucking tired and I just did not have the energy for it, I would literally watch like a movie or TV show. I had like certain TV shows I would like watch with the kids that they like too. And I would record for us to watch together. And they would sit near me and like we would just kind of snuggle and shit. So like, yeah, even if I would go to the grocery store or something, my son didn't always want to go. My daughter always wanted to go with me. And even though sometimes I wanted alone time, she's like, can I come with you, Brittany? I was like, yeah, come on. Like, come on. I was like, all right, we'll get you a little snack. Like, we'll do some stuff. And I would just talk to her and hang out with her. And like, even when I would cook sometimes, like she loved being around me. So she would want to come in the kitchen and stuff. So I got like bar stool things for her to sit so she could actually, so I could look at her while I'm chopping shit, so I can actually talk to her and stuff. Like I always tried so hard to be present and to have conversations. Wasn't perfect, but I always made that effort and attempt. And I'm still that way. Like with her, she's turning 18 in 2 months. Like I was like, all right, I got to think about what she likes. She's so difficult to buy for and plan for because she doesn't have like a ton of like passions or hobbies or things she likes. But I already got gifts for her. I already have a whole ass fucking thing planned. I already asked her if she wanted to do it. She was so fucking excited. And that was my whole thing. I'm still that way, right? And it's like, my mind is like, okay, what do I know about you? And what can I do for you that I know like is just gonna make you so happy that you're gonna one, because I'm doing something that like you have to know somebody to do stuff like that you're gonna feel so loved, because you're gonna see how much I see you, and you're gonna see how much we're just making this whole day about you. Like this whole day is gonna be about you, celebrating you. You're turning 18, so we're gonna make it extra this year, but like, you know, all this stuff. And that's my point, is like, I was so fucking busy. I was depressed. I was stressed the fuck out. I had so much goddamn shit going on. And I still always showed up for them. And I still was always fucking present. And I still listened to them. And I still helped them with shit. So when parents are saying, oh, well, I had this going on and this going on. No, like, no. And it's like, people being like, you're stronger, you're this, or you were taught this. Hell no. Hell no, I wasn't taught any of this. First off, strength is built. It's through choice. When I get kicked down with stuff, I choose not to let it keep me down. That's the difference. It's a choice. Whether you go, I'm going to be a victim, or I'm going to pick my ass up and fucking do it. I've never had people I can depend on my whole life. I've always had to do it on my own. And I've always chosen to do it because I'm like, why the fuck am I going to let this break me the fuck down, right? But forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the fucking strength. I did not learn this growing up. I grew up in a very abusive household. I was emotionally and physically abused, sexually exploited by my stepmom. And with my dad, he let her do shit to me. He was neglectful as fuck. He was not present. The only time he spent with me was when he was involving me with adult shit that was not my responsibility. He was literally using me as like his friend to talk about stuff and give him fucking advice and marriage fucking shit when I was in elementary school. And then to help him with his relationship shit, to help him with work, all that stuff, to go places with him when he didn't want to go on his own, or he just wanted to be around my energy. It was never really about me. It was not about my needs. I was completely neglected, completely ignored, and going through the abuse. My sisters also fucking ganged up on me. I had 3 sisters. They fucking tormented me, lied and said I did shit I didn't, so I get my ass beat even more. Like all kinds of stuff. I was very fucking alone growing up. I had to learn everything. Everything that I am today is literally because I decided to never be like them. I decided to never be the way I was fucking raised. And if I realized I acted like my parents in any capacity, I would fix it immediately. And if I acted out or said some shit, I would apologize immediately. You don't even need to tell me I did something wrong. The second I realize it, I'm going to apologize to you and take accountability. If you tell me I did something wrong, I'm going to reflect on it, see what's up, put myself in your shoes, and I'm going to fucking fix it. Like, I am not that way at all. So the way I am is by a set of fucking choices, by being really intentional, by remembering how the hell it felt to be treated certain ways and making sure I do the opposite, and making sure I show up for people. And that's not my intuition how to show up for people. That's not my energy how to show up for people. That is me literally looking at you and seeing and hearing what the fuck you're saying and recognizing what the hell you're saying and showing up for you in that way by intentional choice. And I have to actually put in the work. I have to actually figure stuff out. There are times that I am going through hell the last few years, but especially the last year. And I'm going through so much spiritual shit, so much fear, all this shit. And it doesn't even matter, because if you have something that is important to you and I am friends with you, I'm going to push my ass and show the fuck up for you, because you matter to me and you're a priority to me. 100%. So there's no reason for people to be making excuses. If a 5-year-old is capable of doing this, so are you. And all the shit that people make excuses about, 5-year-olds can do. There's no way you're going to tell me that you're incompetent, you're incapable, and all this bullshit. You're not going to make excuses. You're not going to justify shit. You can do it. I'm not letting it happen. The point is for us to become stable, for us to heal our trauma, for us to see stuff, for us to get out of these cycles, stop shaming ourselves, stop fucking criticizing ourselves, looking at things realistically, understanding how this is helping us, how we are growing, how this is teaching us what all of this is. Because even all this shit that I've been going through, there's so many layers of stuff. One, I definitely understand people a lot fucking better. I also see a lot of conditioning with stuff. I see a lot of trauma responses with shit. I learned all that. In that period of time, I was also spiritually guiding. I also learned a lot about myself in my life that I did not realize from my past. that I was doing spiritual shit and experiencing things I did not even realize at the time, like shifting people's energies, triggering them with certain things. I had no idea. I did not know why I always kept on feeling certain ways, and realizing it had to do with my gifts and people projecting certain things at me for me to help them with. That's not for everybody. Don't do that, because that's not for everybody. It's very specific. And if people are doing it to you, have boundaries, have respect. I do have boundaries and respect for myself when shit like that happens, which is why people were doing it to me. But like, I've grown in like all of this stuff. I've actually picked up on so much information. I picked up on so much shit about houses, all of this stuff. How it really benefits me though is really understanding people so I can spiritually teach, but also getting information across that's truth and doing energy coding so people can feel it. Also, how I would say really personally serves me is I had a vision a few months ago of me being somewhere else in 4 years. Like, the vision's in 4 years and it's not here. So I already know I'm not going to be living here in 4 years, within 4 years. One of the biggest things for me is being safe. And I've never been safe my whole life. So one of the biggest things that I need is safety. And because of all this shit that keeps happening with my house, I have learned so fucking much shit that I now know what to look for. Now I know what I need to do, and all that stuff. So when I end up moving, I guess I'm moving. So when I end up moving or something, yeah. Oh, it's like a random fuzz. When I end up moving and stuff, now I know I'm going to trust myself to build this and stuff. But also in that period of time, I'm also doing stuff with businesses, people that are coming out, triggering the fuck out of them, helping people when they're having service workers come out that are half-assing shit, not doing shit the right way, advocating for themselves, standing up for themselves at a spiritual level, teaching a lot of this shit, but at a spiritual energy level. Also seeing stuff with businesses and the way they're run and the way services are run and all the fuck ass shit that people do in the service industry, and energetically untangling that mess and getting that resolved. So resolving a lot of fucking problems, also resolving a lot of problems with people's layers of stuff too, and helping them to see the truth, getting clarity, like just all kinds of shit. So yes, it has been crazy. It has been chaotic. Is it worth it? Fuck yeah. Because it's going to change. It's going to change all kinds of shit. It's going to help so many fucking people. It's a lot when I'm going through it, but it's definitely fucking worth it. And it's definitely beneficial, like to a bigger purpose and stuff like that. So I definitely want to change it. So I hope all of this helped you. I've been wanting to like do this, and every time I keep doing it, it's like something new, something new, something new. But I definitely hope that it gives you kind of some clarity and insight even into your own stuff, and kind of helping you to also validate that it's okay to step up and be authentic and be yourself and be loving, and to actually not settle for shit and to go after what you want. And also for us to take accountability for shit and not be mad at ourselves or all this shit about ourselves. We learn as we go, guys. Like, accountability for something is you just taking responsibility for something and resolving it and fixing it, so somebody else doesn't have to hold on to the shit that you projected at them. You know what I'm saying? Which helps both people heal, if we're being really honest, but it also helps us to resolve shit to make things better. If we all keep half-assing shit and we all keep not resolving shit, that shit just grows. When we actually take accountability, we become safe for ourselves, we become responsible, we trust ourselves more, other people trust us more, we can actually create closeness, we can resolve shit, we can make the world better. If everybody did their part and took time to be intentional with things that they do, how they treat people, how they show up, we wouldn't have all of the actual, like all the problems I have in my house. We wouldn't even have all that. We wouldn't have all the stress. We wouldn't have all these things, and we'd actually have the things we want. We'd have the relationships we want. So like, all of us are responsible for this. If you're watching this video, unless you're one of those people who are watching me because you're trying to fuck with my energy, which I already know who the fuck you are, unless you're one of those bitches, like, I'm not talking to you guys, the ones that are trying to fuck with me, send me bad energy, bad intentions. But the people who actually watch this, separate than those fuck faces, Like, this message is directly for you guys because you're a part of the fucking group of people, the light workers. I say in quotes because it's not technically the term, but the light workers that are here to bring massive fucking change. So that's why you're going through all the shit you've been going through, because it's helping you to fully step into who the hell you are, who you need to be, so we can all make a huge fucking difference and impact this world and change things for the fucking greater good. So if you're watching this and shit has been shifting for you and a lot of this stuff resonates, if it hasn't yet, which I think most people hasn't hit, within the next probably few hours to few days, something's going to click for you and you're going to start seeing part of your purpose. You're going to start seeing part of your energetic gift and what you're supposed to be doing, but you got to do it the right way. You got to do it with good intention, all of the stuff. So all the stuff you've been healing and learning, this is now for you to step into that. So I'm very excited. I'm really excited to kind of see how everything shifts, but I really hope that this helps and I hope you guys have an awesome night.